What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here for another update for you guys very shortly after recording the last one, because we got an exclusive from Fabrizio Romano minutes ago saying Tottenham have reached a verbal agreement with Manor Solomon. Here we go. Deal in place as medical tests have been scheduled for next week. Solomon agrees personal terms. He is joining Tottenham as a free agent if all goes to plan with Shakhtar and the FIFA rules. So, I mean, we heard about this one, I think at the back end of last season is the first time we heard these links come up saying Spurs are going to try get Manor Solomon on a free transfer. It has come to pass. It looks as though he will be playing in Spurs colours if, you know, all the FIFA rules come, we get through all the FIFA rules and stuff like that. And I was kind of thinking, like, we arranged this friendly with Shakhtar, and I did kind of think that there was something fishy about it. Do you think it had anything to do with this Manor Solomon?
Well, it's happened very quickly, hasn't it? So maybe it's kind of like a sweetener. Look, we'll give you like a bit of money for this friendly. We'll say it's for Ukraine, and then you can leave us out of any court proceedings. But to be fair, there must be something significant in this friendly, because Shakhtar paid 18 million euros for him. So sorry, no, he was worth 18 million. They paid a decent amount to the Israeli team. So you would have thought they want some of that money back. So I don't know how much it is there's in this friendly, but I guess Shakhtar, as long as they're getting something, I guess that's all they want. I guess they don't want to just lose him for free for a player they paid a decent amount of money for, especially for a team in the Ukrainian league. In terms of the player himself, I think he's a good player. He's a good winger. Whether he's good enough for Tottenham at 23, look, I think the jury's out on that right now. I think it's fair to say. I thought at Fulham last season, when he broke into the team after he had a big injury at the beginning of the season, he then broke into the team and had a really good spell, was scoring quite a few goals, especially some like spectacular goals from the edge of the box.
Very Sonny-esque goals, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I would say like they in terms of cutting in, scoring from outside the box into the far corner, he kind of does it on the run more than like Sonny can just like kind of stop the ball and whip it in, like more technically. Clearly this guy's got ability, but it's marrying it with I think he's got hard work rate as well, but he's just a very frustrating player. I think he's got to learn maybe how to work more with and build up with his fellow teammates. He's kind of one of those players who like has his head down a lot. He's very good at dribbling. He completed like nearly 3 dribbles a game last season, which is pretty impressive, but his passing has a lot to be desired, and it's why he kind of lost his place in the Fulham team after initially winning his place back. In fact, he won his place and all the fans were loving him, and he was like playing really, really well. And then he went through a spell like 5-10 games where he just wasn't hitting the heights, like after he exploded into the team, and didn't really win his place back on a consistent basis. Even in the Ukrainian league, he wasn't like a massive goal scorer. He scored a decent amount, but it wasn't like, you know, smashing it, like as if like it was too easy for him kind of thing. But he did score a decent amount of goals. But it's one I'm excited to see, but it's not one I'm expecting to be a massive success, especially in the first season.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, he will be playing probably back up to Heung-min Son for the whole of next season, to be honest. But do you think maybe in a couple of years, when Sonny is starting to think about leaving, he can take up the mantle from Sonny, or is it like just way too early to say something like that? Because we just haven't seen that quality from him on a consistent basis.
If you ask me that now, the jury's definitely out. I wouldn't say he's got the ability to be as good as Son, or even to be our first choice winger. In terms of him in an Ange system, I do think he could be quite good in terms of the fact that how Ange likes to play his wingers, that he likes to get them into one-on-one situations, and Solomon is good at beating his man on a consistent basis. So that's good. So I think in an Ange system, maybe he could work. I just think I think especially early on, we're going to get a bit frustrated with him, I think, as a fan base. I reckon he might like have the odd spectacular moment, but in terms of him being quite wasteful on the ball, him not being able to find his teammates with passing, or like not looking up and kind of not choosing the right option kind of thing, I think that's going to happen quite a lot, especially in his first season. So it's about being a bit patient, but I do think clearly he's got ability. clearly he's talented. His finishing ability is really, really good. That's another thing, though. He does kind of, because his finishing ability is good, he does take a lot of shots from kind of batter like far out and bad angles because he knows he can do it, but sometimes it's not the best option to do it, and he still tries it. So that's something he's going to have to work on. But in terms of a player with ability, a quick player who can take on his man and a young winger, I think he is a good signing. But I don't think he's like I don't think we would be making the signing if it wasn't for a free transfer.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. But what you will get with Manor Solomon is work rate, hard work rate, pressing from the front. I mean, his numbers in the defensive side of the game are really strong. And that's something that Ange will really like. You know, he likes his wingers to really press high up the pitch, really be hard workers. His interceptions, his tackles, his blocks are very high. And obviously, like you say, his dribbling as well is very strong. So I think like what Ange looks for in a winger, I think he'll bring to us. I just think he needs to up his quality on the ball on a more consistent basis. Is that fair to say?
Definitely. And I also say like what in the positions he takes up, he doesn't like Sonny will run in behind and get one-on-one and get in those kind of positions. Solomon hasn't shown to be able to do that just yet. Like hasn't shown to be that kind of threat. He likes the ball to feet. He likes to take people on and likes to you know cut inside and shoot or get to the byline and cross it. He isn't the kind of player who like look for those one-on-one situations with those kind of clever runs like Sonny does. So that's definitely as well something you have to work on. I don't think he's that two-footed either. I think he's quite one-footed. So you know, getting to the byline and getting crosses in and creating chances, whether he's good enough to do that on his left foot, we have to wait and see. But I think he's going to be someone who can definitely excite us in terms of how he can take people on. He can definitely get bums or seats in terms of how he, with his dribbling ability and his ability to shoot from range. But I just don't think this player. Look, he's 23, so I don't want to just say like he is what he is right now because players can grow at that age. But the player he is right now, I don't think is a player I would have been signing, to be honest.
Let's hope we're getting that player in the 6-game period where he scored goal after goal after goal. Because in that moment, in that period in time, 6 games, I mean, everyone was talking about him and everyone was saying, wow, what a player this guy is. But we just never saw that on a consistent basis throughout the season.
You got to remember that was also a period he was just coming back from injury. I think he was like raring to go kind of thing. And he was also kind of exploded onto the scene. But then I think he kind of reverted back to the mean. And like, even if you look at his like stats, like the goal, like in terms of goals per 90, he was quite decent. But then you look at his XG and his expected assists really bad. Like, so I think he was outperforming himself in a way in that short period. And then he reverted back to type kind of during the rest of it. Hope maybe he would argue that period where he's scoring loads of goals is more fair reflection of him, but I would argue it isn't. I would argue he's probably overperforming, but clearly with that period he showed he has ability. His ability to find corners from tight angles is clearly there. He did that Shakhtar as well and Fulham, so I think he has ability. I just think I think we're hoping I think Spurs are just hoping it's a smart free transfer. Which it could be. And I think it's very little downside considering he is a free transfer. I just hope we don't sign him and think we're done with our winger transfers, which I'm scared we might.
I don't think we bring in a winger, to be honest, apart from this.
That's what I'm worried about.
Well, I'm fine with it if we get the centre-back targets and maybe a midfield target that we really want. I am actually fine with that if we do that. But you know, we were talking last night, weren't we, in the WhatsApp group, and you guys were saying, you know, we need in an Ange system someone that's really good at dribbling, and that's what he is.
That's true. So I can't deny that. I did say we need someone who's really good at dribbling, and he definitely represents that. But it's what happens after that, I guess, which is not great. But we'll see. Well, maybe he can improve on that. And he is still young, and as I keep saying, he clearly has ability. So maybe that's something we can work with.
And also maybe playing with better players around him can make him a better player with Ange Postecoglou, who obviously has a knack of improving players like this. You know, we might see him maybe explode in a year's time or something like that. So I'm excited for this transfer. I really am. But maybe it's more just because he's Israeli more than like his actual what he has shown on a football pitch. Spurs is first Israeli since Ronnie Rosenthal, I think it is. So look, This one is done. It looks
Right.
as though we just have to get clearance from FIFA, and then we will see him in a Spurs shirt. Medical tests are scheduled for next week, and we have got the here we go from Fabrizio Romano. So that is the third here we go we've had so far this transfer window, and it's only July the 2nd.
Not bad. Clearly moving very, very quickly, and look, they've clearly been thinking about this for a while because we heard about the transfer, as you say, right at the end of last season. We were talking about it. I didn't think there was anything in it because I didn't think we'd seriously be
I
going
was
for him.
quite
But
positive about it. Do you remember we had that little debate at the time
about what? Sorry.
about Solomon, if it's a true story or not.
Yeah, and I really didn't think it was, but it turns out it is. I am excited to see what he can do for us, and I think if he does turn out to be good, it can be a stroke of genius. But I think it's going to take a bit of time. I wouldn't expect him first season to be like. I think there's going to be. I reckon in this first season, there's going to be a lot of fans like really frustrated with him. But I think you just got to be a bit patient with him.
Yeah, I'd like to see him get his opportunities in the early rounds of the cups and stuff like that. You know, we are in the second round of the League Cup this year, so throw him in. Why not? But anyway, let's move on and let's talk about the defenders now, the defender situation. As Romano says that Tottenham are working on both deals for Edmund Tapsoba and Mickey van der Ven. However, only with the idea just to sign one as things stand. And what did I tell you, Sim? What did I tell you?
What, you told me that you only wanted one?
No, not I only wanted one. That of course, I want both. That's ridiculous. Of course, I want both. But I only thought we would sign one.
I never said I think we'll sign two. I said I think it's realistic to sign two. I don't see why we can't, and I stand by that. And we'll see what happens. Hopefully, we sign two. If they only sign one, I'm going to be disappointed.
I meant out of these two. Out of these two, that's what I meant.
I'm just talking about two centre backs who have a starting ability. I don't see why we can't sign two. I honestly don't.
No, I agree with you. I completely agree with you that I do think we will sign two, but I don't think it will be these two. And that was the debate that we had at the time.
No, the debate, obviously it could be these two, but the debate for me was I wanted two centre backs who have first team ability, who could be for starters.
So we were both debating something completely different then.
I guess so. That you're saying, I thought what you were saying is it wasn't realistic to sign two first team centre backs.
What I was saying is unreal. I thought it was unrealistic to sign these two, specifically these two.
I don't think it's unrealistic to sign these two. I don't see why it is, to be honest.
Yeah, well, the news from coming out from Romano saying that we're only going for one as things stand. Hopefully things progress and we do sign both, because I think to sign both would be an absolute game changer for us.
I don't see why. Yeah, and that disappoints me to hear him say that. I don't see why it's unrealistic to sign, even if it's those two specifically. I don't see why it's unrealistic to sign both of them.
Because we're talking
I think if we went in for both of them, I don't see why we can't do it.
Yeah, look, as much as I would love to see it, but you know Tottenham's track record. You know how Tottenham like to do business, and this is the way we like to do it. And unfortunately, this is the club that we support. So that's the reason I was saying it's unrealistic, not because of the caliber of the players or the price of the players, just solely because we're Tottenham Hotspur, and this is the way we do things.
Yeah, I know, and that's frustrating. And hopefully that we change our mindset. I don't think we should be going for just one. We should be going for two, and we should really, really be trying to build a good squad. That makes more sense to me. It doesn't make sense to only sign one, and then down the road we're going to have to sign another anyway. So we're going to still be relying on, a centre back we don't want to be relying on. Essentially,
I believe we sign one of these plus Tosin Adebayo. That's what I believe.
And so we have them. So Tosin, Dyer, one of those, and Romero. Yeah, I guess not terrible. I mean, it's not great, but it's okay.
And like Tosin, do you reckon though, because we've snatched Manor under the noses of Fulham, they play a bit more hardball now with us with Tosin?
Potentially, it might leave a bad taste in their mouth. And so maybe that could up the price a bit, but I don't know how seriously they want. I don't know if they wanted him to sign permanently. I don't know if there's any indication that they were going to go sign him permanently.
Yeah, there was a report. There was a report last week, I can't remember who it was from, that said that Fulham are really pushing for Manor and Spurs are trying to hijack the move.
So maybe they would be a bit bitter about it, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we should be signing. I think we should sign two left centre backs. That was what I would do if I was managing the squad. But if it's only one, and as long as we get. And if it's only one, we should go for there's no excuse not to go for the more expensive one in Tapsoba. Then it has to be Tapsoba.
Yeah, the thing is with Mickey van der Ven, right? he just fits the bill because we're light at left back, we're light at left centre back. He can cover both. Tapsoba can cover both right centre back and left centre back. So for me, like if we're going to sign two, and we can only sign two, it should be those two. But we just don't do things that make sense here at Tottenham.
Yeah, I know we'd rather do things more complicated, but at least we're going for one of them, which is good. But we know Romano. I mean, we know before that we're negotiating for them, so there's no surprise. But like, there's no for me, there's no reason why we shouldn't get both. Honestly.
So would you prefer Tapsoba out of the two?
Yeah, definitely. I think Tapsoba's much better, but I think Van der Ven is good. He's a bit younger. I think Tapsoba definitely performs better on a lot of the metrics, although it's quite hard to judge. But I think Tapsoba is a bit more experienced as well. I think he's just better, to be honest. Tapsoba.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. That is your Tottenham update today. Another one for today. We got the here we go for Manor Solomon, and apparently Spurs are working on both deals for Edmund Tapsoba and Mickey van der Ven. But Romano thinks that the idea is just to sign one of them as things stand. But thank you everyone for joining us today. We'll see you all tomorrow. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.
Come on you Spurs.